Hey guys, we're back for another episode of the Amazing Marketing Minds podcast from the Triangle Marketing Club. This is episode 2. We just completed an episode last month. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We interviewed Pamela, talked all about content marketing, lots of great stuff there. Today, we actually have the privilege of having Christopher Douglas, one of the original co-founders to the Triangle Marketing Club, with us today.
Hey guys.
What's up, Chris? And today we're going to talk a little bit about you, Chris. We're going to put the spotlight on you and talk about your story, where you came from, what you do, and how the TMC came to be. So let's start off with, for those who have never met Chris, who are you? What do you do, Chris?
So I am a Raleigh native, which is rare these days because everyone seems to move away about age 25. But I grew up here in Raleigh, married a Raleigh native, went and did my undergrad at UNC Charlotte, applied psych, went and did my MBA at East Carolina. That's how I got into marketing. Was I was taking classes and trying to
East Carolina,
okay, and trying to figure out what I wanted to do post MBA. Fell into the marketing classes because they were just easier. It made sense. And my dad was a marketing guy for most of his career, so it was. Some say it's in your blood or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
But I had a professor, Dr. Rich Gooner, who's now at Georgia, taught marketing strategy, and we did this whole case study on BMW films and how to drive client or customer interaction, how to reinvigorate a brand, and it was really exciting. And from there, I started reaching out and doing what I tell all my interns to do now, which is just make connections on LinkedIn and go meet people, get coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you take that time and you get to know somebody. You learn how they think, and then from there you can leverage or start building a relationship that you can leverage later, because now you're not just a stranger asking for a favor. You know somebody,
absolutely,
and you can do so much more.
Was there, sorry to jump in, was there anybody in those early years when you were first getting started that you met that became kind of an influential connector?
So Phil Buckley, who spoke for the first TMC event.
First ever event?
Yeah, the first ever one.
Cool.
We did in the back of Raleigh Brewing when we had 40 people there. It was kind of crazy.
Oh, that's
him
awesome.
And Ellen Gowdy and Cord Silverstein. But I met Cole Watts, who was one of the co-founders with me, at a product camp or something like that. We sat down, we got coffee, and we were both working on a different organization, and we were trying to help out. And it was all this, there's like 20 people on the board, and there was all this fractious infighting.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous. And so I just looked at Cole and said, this would be so much more fun if we just did our own thing. And Phil Buckley that year had been running an SEO meetup group. He got out of it, and AMA raised its rates. And so our whole model became for TMC was just, we can connect marketers in the area without all this paying all this money to a national organization that really don't know what the value is you're getting for being a member.
Right.
And we can find cool companies that want to, help us fund this thing. And put people in the same room together and let magic happen by connecting people to learn, network, and mentor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I got the whole thing I founded. But to other people that I've met, gosh, I mean, we're talking like Brian McDonald, even though he's an Alabama fan.
We'll forgive him.
Yeah, well, some people. But, then it was a fast month. Eric Abel and a whole bunch of others that I met, because I came out of the MBA, and this is part of the reason why we created TMC, was I came out of the MBA and I didn't have that solid network set up.
Right.
I'd met Janet Kennedy, I'd met a whole bunch of others, and it was a struggle to find that first job. I mean, we were still coming out of the recession. This was 2011 or end of 2011. So we were, the economy was starting to pick back up, but it was still 5-6% unemployment here in Raleigh. Nationwide was a lot more. And, I was like, there's got to be a better way. Talented students shouldn't have to struggle to get experience because they have to have experience to get the job. And companies shouldn't struggle to find high quality interns, thus a niche we could fill. We've done that really well.
multiple birds, one stone. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I
you
think
just
that's why a lot of people like the TMC Club. It's like different people can go and attend the event and get different things,
Yeah.
out of it. So
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. Whether you're a salesperson looking to meet somebody, whether you're a college intern trying to learn something or meet people to network to get to that first job, whether you're a CMO trying to keep up so people don't, pile it higher and deeper on you and you get, snowed by someone who knows tech and you don't. That's the advantage is we have people that come intern to CMO that are 19 to 65.
Wow. Okay.
And that's the cool part. And all for people don't pay to be members or to attend events.
Yeah, that's right. All the events are free. Well, and we did just kind of jump right into the to the event thing too. But this isn't the only thing you do, right, Chris?
No. So I run a marketing agency called Big Red Dog Marketing.
Okay.
Which was an offshoot of the consultancy I had founded about the same time. I had gotten laid off from a startup back in 2014, and just decided that I could take my salary, split it into 4, and I could have 4 clients and make it into something, excuse me, to where I could, continue to support my family.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it worked really well and it was fun. And then I met Greg Heyer and we started talking about doing something bigger and we got a bunch of clients and we were going to change the name from the original agent or consultancy to Big Red Dog. And then he passed. And so it kind of set me back about 6 months or a year. But in the meantime, I've since gotten a new partner and we've got a really solid effort going with clients across the country, which is really cool.
Any particular clients that you work with, by the way? Like, what does Big Red Dog do?
So Big Red Dog is an integrated marketing agency. So we handle digital, we handle a lot of offline events, and our whole goal there is to be able to provide attribution to what's working and what's not, and drive marketing strategy that will actually impact the bottom line.
Okay. Any particular like clientele, industry type of business?
We've got we don't really have a niche. I mean, I would call us too new to do that, but I've got clients in the B2C arena like Mindspire and J&J Tent, where we're doing a lot of work in Mindspire's test prep. So they're getting kids to go back and be able to conquer the SAT in a legit way, not cheat, like you've seen with all the celebrities doing, but they actually help kids earn their way into college, which is really cool. And so we've increased their organics traffic 40%. We've implemented a CRM and a marketing automation solution to help do a drip campaign to where we can increase conversion from lead to client. And then with J&J Tent, we've just blown that one out of the water because we raised his organic traffic 300% and we've got his revenue up 52% in just over 2 years.
Wow.
So and he's
That's
doing
pretty impressive.
And he's a sponsor. That's how I met Jim. Was he's one of the first sponsors of TMC because he helped me do chairs for the events and just make sure we had stuff for people to sit on because we never know where we're going to meet some months. And Jim is always cool and calls me a couple days ahead and says, "Hey, where am I going?" And it's really handy. So Jim, if you're watching, I really appreciate you.
Sounds like Jim's man.
Jim's great, but it's interesting if you look back at the work I've done or whatnot. TMC I founded not because I was looking for a way to supplement my business or to make a paycheck. I founded it because helping people connect. And if you haven't seen it, then a lot of this is if you haven't seen the movie Dave, where he talks about helping somebody find a job. And again, this comes back from the recession. So if you help somebody find a job, you kind of, especially a good job where it's them and their boss see eye to eye and they can be together longer and do cool stuff, you get a lot of buy-in and you get a lot of people that enjoy that aspect of it, because if a company hires somebody and they stay on staff longer than the 2-year average for millennials and maybe 2.5 to 3 for Gen Xer these days, but if they stay on longer, then the longevity helps build the way the teams gel. Then they do better work. True. If they do better work, the marketing gets better. Thus, the company gets stronger because if the marketing is better, then usually sales increase behind the fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's, again, it's a long if statement to the value prop of TMC, but the whole goal is to help people connect through learning, networking, and mentoring.
And I think that's huge. I don't know many groups that are doing it as well and are doing this good of a job as TMC. I'm not just saying that because we're friends. Like, it's genuinely true. I told Chris that, I run Tortuga Marketing. I told him that by the time we became sponsors of TMC, I felt like it was just so past due, because of all the value that we had gotten out of the event here locally. But that brings me to an interesting question, Chris. So I see at least once a month somebody within my network, somebody I know, attempt to launch a new group, a new community, a new meetup. And I understand the logic behind it, right? Trying to build a community around a specific niche, whether it's a region, like a certain city or town, or it's a specific industry like marketing. But most of them aren't successful. What do you think TMC, like, what are a few attributes for those listening who, are maybe thinking about starting their own group, within their industry or something like that? Like, what are a few attributes that you think have set TMC apart from some of the other groups that start up and fail? Like, TMC's been around for a while now, and the
approaching
attendees,
5 years.
Yeah, and the attendees are growing every time. You always have at least 100 people at least. So what do you think? What do you think is different?
So Cole and I sat back and we did a survey in we started in 2014. We did a survey very early on, like this was 2016-ish. And we figured out really quickly that 90% of the people live within the 540 area.
Okay.
All right. So doing a meetup in Durham made no sense because nobody's going to drive 30 or 45 minutes after work to go someplace to have to turn around and come back. So one, location matters.
Figure out where your market is based. It's just like marketing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if your people live at the beach, you don't do something at the mountains unless you're doing a retreat.
Yeah, of course.
But then, we wanted it to be, I think one of our first taglines was not just digital, not just PR, but a broad spectrum of everything your favorite marketing minds have to offer. So we stayed very general, where like SEO meetup stays very tight to search, and social media meetup does social media.
Yeah.
Their topics are limited. Ours are kind of wide open. I can have an SEO speaker one month, and the next month do social, the next month after that PR, which I try to do. I try to cover all the various channels once a year at least, and then that leaves me 3 or 4 events where I can, whoever I can find. The other thing is we've been really lucky. I think the interns really are the secret sauce. That they get me into conversations that normally I wouldn't have without it, because people, one, need interns. There's a huge value to having a young person come in and see something different and throw up an idea, and then the team says, okay, let's debate it. Versus you get groupthink and people stay in their silo and they never look outside, and you get their end result from that. But we do, like every year I take the interns to Internet Summit. They go and rate speakers on their own standard, 1 to 10 on 10 or 15 different things. And the 10 best speakers they see, because I've got, 10 that go around, so they see almost the entire gamut of Internet Summit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They do a really good job of getting out there and letting me know who's there. And then I go and start a conversation. And that with us, we've gotten really cool speakers like Michael Barber from Pennsylvania, Susan Winograd, who's now CMO over at AimClear. Jenny Hallis, local marketer that I've known forever, who's one of the top 10 SEOs in the country.
Yeah, I've met Jenny. Yeah.
Patrick Stocks, again, he works for IBM. He's a great SEO. We've had Dan London, we've had Greg Ng, we've had a whole bunch of people local, which is great because for a meetup that relies on sponsorship dollars, I don't have to fund traffic, travel and that kind of stuff. But there's a wealth of talent here. And there's people that will line up to see these people, because normally you'd be paying $300 plus for a ticket to go see them. And, we haven't even talked about, the beverage service and the, and the food that we offer at, on the house, during the events, so you don't go hungry, because nobody wants to network on an empty stomach.
Yeah, I've always loved the consistency. You go to the event, you know what to expect. You've got a little bit of networking. You've got the speaker, the pizza, the beer. Do you think the speaker is necessary, by the way? There's some events that don't have presentations or speakers. Did you and Cole, or did you and anybody else ever consider doing it without speakers?
Well, and the thing is, the speakers are the draw for the audience. The audience is the draw for the sponsors. The interns are draws for the sponsors. You have to find, and this is going back to your earlier question, you have to find what your fuel is.
Mhm.
Okay. A meetup group is a lot like an engine, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have something to ignite, to light a fire, to shove a piston, to pull air through, because an engine's just an air pump. But is the faster you can shove air in the front side and air out the back side, the faster the car goes. Same thing for a meetup group. If you have a really cool draw, a really cool speaker that's going to help you gain some knowledge to take back to your workplace the next day, and I've got people from, have said that several times, like Peter Mullins, who haven't seen him in a while. I'd love him to come again, but he ran marketing for Knowledge Tree back in the day, and we were able to use their space. But I mean,
I remember that. I think I went to the holiday party was the last thing that I remember you did over there.
Yeah, it was. They got bought again, so it was really a bummer that ended, because it was really cool.
It was a cool.
That was a cool space, but you're able to. I think Jack Moore also said something like, you're able to take stuff back to the office the next day and implement it. Right. So it's something, we try to get the speakers to put into every month is, something strategy wise that makes sense, how to, and the tools to use at any budget level. Because if you walk in and you're saying, hey, you only need $60,000 to buy this widget, there's gonna be a lot of people who are going to say, well, that's nice, but what can I really do? Whereas if you say, hey, this is like $100 a month, oh, okay, well, make that happen. So it's aiming to and knowing your audience, because our audience is not big corporate. We have a lot of IBMers that show up and such like that, but the average TMC member is in a 5 to 20 person company. Mm-hmm. They're probably a marketing manager, marketing director. They're probably late 30s, early 40s. But again, we have that range of 19 to 65, and they're looking at how to do it better and honest. It's not like they're trying to find a cheat code to Google. That stuff doesn't last. They're trying to find how to do it better than the other guys so they can help their company grow. And that's what we try to provide, is a way to learn how to do better marketing month in and month out.
There's definitely tons and tons of value that come out of the group. So, lately, one of the newest, additions or changes to TMC is that, started working with our team. We're creating these podcasts now, and there's a bunch of other stuff in the works for TMC as well. Can you speak a little bit about maybe the future of the event, and almost just, love to pick your brain on the vision. Like, where do you see this going a year from now? Do you see any changes, or do you love where it's going now and just you plan on keeping it that way? Where do you see next year going?
So I'm really comfortable where we are right now. I'm always looking for ways to make it better, because I think the experience matters, because that goes to brand. One thing I really want to do is find a good, almost in the Army, you call them a lieutenant or something like that, somebody who's younger that would like to come help, because I do have 2 kids now, so there's always time is limited, and it's the one resource I cannot replace.
That is yet another job that you're taking on.
It's like 2.5 jobs, and that's just one kid right now. But with 2 daughters, it's going to be a full-time thing. But it's TMC has been around for 5 years. It's not going to go away. We're going to find, and it's finding new speakers. And, we've been doing the whole drive of getting reviews so I can get more speakers, and to let people know what it's really about.
Yeah,
because
so
many, about half the audience every time it shows up has never been to a TMC event before, which is cool, because a different event, a different flavor, a different audience, you're going to meet different people. It's not the same 15, 20 people each time. You're going to walk into a room and there's going to be somebody there, and somebody there to introduce you to somebody you don't know.
Right.
And that's the advantage of networking. It's like Neil Isaacs does with TBO and a couple other groups. I mean, he does a great job with that. And, Neil,
I know. Neil's watching
and Neil's got a baby too now. So he's
that's true. I know.
He's going to be feeling the same pains, and, my hat's off to him, because networking is more fun after the 3 a.m. feedings. But it's, we're going to relaunch the website this year. I got a new sponsor that's going to pick that up. We're going to try and
Can we know who it is? Is it top secret? Who's doing it?
so there's a company up in Wake Forest called Hyper Frontier. Justin and
Okay.
Mike do a really good job with websites,
Cool.
and
Okay.
I work with them through Big Red Dog as well. So it's great to have them there. And so we're going to be redoing the theme in the background. A lot of the same features are going to be there, like the agency listing. So if you run an agency here in town and you don't have a backlink, get in touch with me, because we'll get you.
Get you added to the
Yeah,
listing.
yeah, because I mean it's a full Triangle Marketing Club or Triangle agency listing.
Yeah,
And it's who you
absolutely.
are, what you do, how to get in touch with you. If you're a sponsor, you go to the top of the list. So there's an add value there, because that thing gets searched a couple hundred times a month.
Yeah. Of course.
And we rank number one, which is really wicked cool. It helps when your domain is Triangle Marketing. But so there's that aspect. New interns. We're going to Campbell University's got something going on in October to meet sophomores, juniors, and seniors in the marketing realm, which is really cool. So I'm excited to meet some of them.
And this will be coming out in October. So if I'm an intern or somebody's looking to get into the marketing space, if I may just throw the call to action out there, like this is definitely the time to reach out.
Yeah, and so we're always looking for new interns, because the advantage of being an intern for TMC is you're going to get to meet a lot of marketing VIPs, people who are VP CMO level that come in to speak. You're going to get a chance to interview them, ask their advice, make a connection on LinkedIn, and which is going to serve valuable, because like I mentioned earlier, I came out of school, I made 500 LinkedIn connections in a month back in, 2011, 2012. And that was a big deal back then. So, but the short of it is that led to 80 coffee meetings in 1 month.
Wow,
that led
that's
down
impressive.
to 30 job interviews that led to 2 job offers in 30 days. So
Wow.
it's totally doable if you hustle.
Oh, 100%. Especially when it comes to finding a job. This is something I'm super passionate about. But I have friends, family, I have people tell me all the time that they've done everything they can to look for a job. And then when you ask them, they've applied to like 5 or 10 places. But you really do have to put in the work.
Yeah, and getting, again, the network matters, because if you just apply online, it's like 750,000 odds of getting the job.
Correct.
Versus if you know somebody inside, especially places like Red Hat, IBM, you're going to have like 25 to 1 odds of getting that job.
Yep.
Which is a huge difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Knowing somebody well enough to where they say, you need to give this kid a chance, or this guy or this girl, whatever.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
and you guys, so you also have sponsors at TMC, right?
Yeah. So you guys are obviously one of them. You're one of the platinum sponsors, which is awesome. J&J Tent, which is a platinum sponsor, and love to have them. Fourscore Business Law, which is the attorneys for the club, because you never know when you need one. And Jesse Jones does a great job with that. My own company, Big Red Dog, because I put a ton of time into this.
Of course, yeah. It's a huge sponsor.
And then some of the others, let's see, Hyper Frontier. We've got Zigzibit. It helps us do all the trade show type stuff that we do for the club and the presentation. There's Leads Nearby, Jack Moore and his team.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah,
they're good team.
Yeah, and then Chartreuse Moose, who did the logo, the Cardinal logo, which is I love. By the way, Jim Hickman, it looks really sleek. And then, gosh, there's like 15.
Well, there's several. Yeah, not to make them feel bad or anything too, but just to try to kind of wrap things up a little bit as well. What would you say to the people who are listening who might be interested in becoming a sponsor? Like, who is this good for? Who is this type of
So if you're an
exposure?
agency and you want to meet people to hire, if you're an agency and want to meet people in general in a neutral environment, I mean, you're getting an easygoing space with beer and pizza and 30 or 45 minutes of networking time where you can get FaceTime with a prospect.
Right.
It's easy. It's a neutral field type play.
Yep.
Which is totally worthwhile for anybody. If you're client side and you have a product that you want to get in front of marketers, we have 4,800 plus members. I have an email list of 4,800 people, which is great because in the Raleigh area, I can drive interaction, and tell people about your brand.
Absolutely.
Like Davison Wicker runs Ravetree down in Apex, and it's a workflow solution for marketing agencies. But the short of it is, if you're either an agency or a company looking to meet marketers, reach out. I'm happy to connect you and help you in the Raleigh area.
Definitely. I mean, definitely a great place to be. Well, I mean, in short, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about, Chris. I appreciate you coming out to our studio to sit down and chat for a little bit. Any last words, anything before
Well, we
get
got the
going?
event on, well, I mean, it'll be dated, but September 24th. So
We
love
do have
to.
September. I think this is going to go out close to October.
Okay.
There is an event coming up.
There is an
October
October
as
end of the month. If you just Google Triangle Marketing Club, it'll be one of the first two links. You look for the meetup page. All the events will be listed. It'll be on Facebook. It'll be on Twitter. It'll be on Instagram, wherever we
Facebook.
Facebook, wherever we put it. So you'll be able to find it pretty easily.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's pretty much it, man. Thank you so much for coming out.
Well, thanks for
Chris.
having me.
And let's rock and roll.
Hey, man, appreciate it.